This story is based on a real incident. The night was cold, thick with shadows that swallowed the edges of the road. Somewhere in the darkness, a young girl's fate began to twist into something far darker than anybody could have imagined. It started like so many other nights. Laughter, music, friends, the rush of youth. But by dawn, everything had shifted. Fear crept in like mist, settling in the hearts of her family, her city, and a nation that would never forget the horror that unfolded. She was only 18 years old, a law student with dreams too fragile to withstand the cruelty that awaited her. Her name was Debanhi, and the world would soon grasp just how vulnerable life could be for a young woman alone in the early hours before sunrise. It was the night of April 8, 2022, in General Escobedo, a place where neon lights met quiet streets just outside the bustling city of Monterrey in Nuevo León, Mexico. Debanhi had gone to a party with two friends at a place called Quinta Diamante. Music thumped in the background, and for a while, it seemed like any typical night out. But something changed. Her laughter faded, her mood shifted, and the carefree adventure began to unravel. Her friends later described her behavior as odd, uncharacteristic, eyes clouded, steps unsteady. A strange energy clung to her, as if something unseen had touched her that night. Arguments broke out, voices raising, tension hanging in the air like an unseen blade. At some point, she locked herself in a bathroom, as if running from something inside her own mind. After 1:20 a.m., concern grew. Her friends, desperate and unsure, called for a ride, an app taxi, a die-die. The vehicle arrived and picked her up, but the ride that should have delivered her home became one of the last glimpses of her alive. Security footage later revealed her and the driver arguing, her voice raised, his words tense and sharp. The reason, they said, was confusion over her address and a refusal on her part to share it. Yet those details only deepened the mystery. At about 4:25 a.m., somewhere along the lonely stretch of the Monterrey-Nuevo Laredo highway, at kilometer marker 15.5 in the Nueva Castilla neighborhood, she stepped out of that car, alone, vulnerable. A snapshot of her standing on the deserted road was taken by the driver, a haunting image that would soon spread like wildfire across social media. That single photograph, capturing a lone figure under the indifferent glow of streetlights, was the last known sight of her alive. We don't know what she felt in that moment. Was she scared? Was she defiant? Did she know something was terribly wrong? Only she could have answered that. And she never did. Minutes ticked by. The driver waited. Then he left. Debanhi was gone into the night. Security cameras later captured a lonely figure walking, seemingly seeking help at a transportation office, its doors unresponsive to her silent plea. In those moments, she appeared lost to the world, both physically and in spirit. Then, like a wisp of fog dissolving at sunrise, she faded from any clear record. Her father, Mario, immediately felt something was wrong. A father's instinct is a sharp, cruel thing, an internal alarm that blares into nothingness if ignored. He reported her missing to the authorities, and the initial missing person alerts began circulating across social networks. But nothing was ordinary about this disappearance. The image of her on that road became an emblem of something deeply unsettling, a symbol of vulnerability, fear, and unanswered questions. For 13 days, the world watched. The city buzzed with rumors and whispers. Every dawn brought hope and heartbreak in equal measure. Her parents kept vigil, clinging to every possibility, every rumor, every shred of hope that she might be found alive. Yet with each passing hour, the silence grew heavier, oppressive like a door slowly closing on hope itself. Then, on April 22nd, everything changed. lifeless echo of the vibrant young woman they knew was found where nobody expected, inside a water-filled cistern at a motel nearby. The cistern, dark and cold, seemed like a crypt carved out by shadows, a place where light feared to go. When her body was discovered, it was in a state of decomposition, her life extinguished and stolen in a way that sent waves of shock across Mexico and beyond. People wept, the streets filled with cries for justice, and the photograph of her alone on that road became a ghostly reminder of a young life cut short. Authorities initially said she had fallen, hit her head, and drowned. They ruled it an accident, an eerie, unsatisfying explanation for a nightmare that felt anything but accidental. But Mario and Dolores, her adoptive parents, could not accept this. Their grief was sharp and unrelenting, like flint scraping against iron. They demanded another look, another voice for their daughter. A second autopsy was performed, and what it revealed shook the fragile remnants of public faith. It showed she had suffered physical and sexual violence before her death. The cause of her death was listed as a deep head contusion, a violent end for someone so young. Yet still, the puzzle remained incomplete. Nobody was charged. The perpetrator was never identified. Questions piled upon questions like ominous clouds gathering before a storm. Was she truly alone on that road? What happened between the moment she stepped out of that car and the moment her life was stolen? How could someone vanish into thin air only to be found in a cistern, lifeless and forgotten? As the investigation continued, the inconsistencies grew. Some claimed she might have been held against her will for days before dying. Others questioned the handling of evidence, the roles of those who saw her last, and the strange absence of definitive answers. And the world watched, desperate for clarity that never came. Her story ignited something much bigger than one tragic death. Across Mexico, women took to the streets. They carried signs that read, "No to harassment," and "Mexico is a mass grave," voices lifting in collective anguish and fury. They chanted, marched, demanded justice, not just for Debanhi, but for hundreds, thousands of women who had disappeared or been killed without explanation or consequence. Her name became a rallying cry, not just a memory. It was a symbol of systemic failure, of institutional silence, of violence that too often went unanswered. The protests spread, weaving through cities and towns like a fire that refused to be extinguished. In countless vigils, her parents spoke with trembling voices, each word heavy with sorrow and unwavering love. They recounted her laughter, her dreams, her gentle spirit. They dared to imagine futures that she would never live. College graduations, birthdays, quiet nights at home. Every unspoken possibility was a ghost that walked beside them, a reminder of what was taken. And yet, even as the world watched and marched, the answers remained elusive. Autopsies were repeated, theories proposed, evidence scrutinized, but the truth stayed just out of reach. The government's handling of the case sparked outrage, entire institutions reeling under pressure to explain what went wrong. Some officials were removed, investigations reopened, yet justice remained a distant promise. 3 years on, her case is still unresolved. No one has been convicted for her murder. The silence around her death is heavier than the darkness that swallowed her on that lonely road so long ago. Question after unanswered question haunts the minds of those who seek justice for her. Echoes of a life that sparked hope and faded into something far darker. In a country already burdened by a crisis of missing women, her story stands as a chilling testament to the fragility of life and the terrifying void where answers should be. It is whispered in protests and murmured in documentaries. Her image, standing alone in the night, still lingers on walls and screens, a stark reminder of a young woman's vanished future. People ask, how did it happen? Who was responsible? Why did she have to die? These questions burn in the hearts of her loved ones, lingering with a ferocity that refuses to fade. No closure has come. No justice has been delivered. Only echoes, broken and haunting, remain. And so the world remembers her as she was, a girl with her whole life ahead of her, lost in the shadows of a night that should have never been so cruel. The mystery of her disappearance became a horror story no one wanted to tell, yet everyone felt compelled to hear. And long after the lights dim and the streets grow quiet, her story resounds, a chilling reminder of how quickly innocence can slip into the abyss, leaving behind only questions and fear. If you found this story haunting and thought-provoking, make sure to subscribe to Open Files of True Horror, hit the notification bell, and share with others who need to hear it.